Hey, this is Dan the Sports Fan here with my new pod. Trying this again. Do it a little different this time because before it was just audio. This time you will get to see my face, get to see the shirts most importantly, obviously, because if I'm just going to talk about shirts, I kind of want to be able to show them off. So this is a little bit of a different avenue for me, and we will get through it together. I don't really know where to look or what to do, but shit, new stuff happens and you just roll with it. But this will give me a chance to kind of showcase myself, showcase the shirts, showcase other people, showcase some great customers that I have that make what I do what I do. Um, so obviously, you know that this is DC4L Custom Tees. See, I almost went the wrong way. I should have went. No, see, I'll figure it out. Anyhow, what is DC4L Custom Tees? Well, for years I got, because a lot of my customers are Raider fans. For the years I got that I was a Derek Carr affiliated t-shirt company, which I'm definitely not. Never was. Never had that inclination. Never had that idea when I even started it. Um, the DC4L portion of this comes from way back in the day when I was in high school. We had an entrepreneurship class, and me and my best friend at the time started a t-shirt company. And it was just for shits and giggles, for marks. No, I mean nothing crazy or serious. Just two dudes putting stuff on shirts and selling them at a flea market and stuff. Anyway, we took the first three letters of his last name and the first three letters of my last name, and we created it. His last name was the DOT. My last name is the CON. So it was .con for life. Now, when you're a kid, that's kind of cool. Like shit, like you don't think nothing of it. Now, as a grown ass man saying .con for life, it's really not that. Doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound cool. Doesn't sound right. So especially with the four being a number, not the word, right? Anyhow, to kind of bring it all back to point. Um, so in April it'll be 6 years. So 6 years ago, I ended up having a surgery. I was off of work, bored as shit, and had nothing to do. And listen, I could sit there, I could play video games, I could watch TV, I could smoke my life away and do nothing. But I'm not. I needed something to do. So I started talking to a buddy of mine, and he said, "Hey, I mean, there's a way that you can make money and sit at home," and kind of laid out the option of kind of doing what I do, which is making artwork and then putting it on products. So that's the beauty of what I do, right? Is that it's like it's custom everything. So it doesn't have to be a musician or an athlete or anything like that. You can hit me with a picture of your dog, your kids, whatever the case might be, and I'll do something with it, right? So that's what's kind of been my niche. So, anyways, started doing this, and when I named it, I kind of went back to what my roots were on it. So I took the DC4L from the .con for life, and obviously added the custom tees, and that's what it was. Now, obviously, the surgery was part and parcel of it because obviously I'm not working, so that was why I started to do what I'm doing now. But I also do what I do because I love sports, and I'm Canadian, so my exchange rate versus the US dollar is not very good. So when I wanted to get a T-shirt or I want to get a cool sports affiliated thing, they cost an arm and a leg. And I got three daughters and a wife. I'm not built to just drop $50 on a T-shirt, right? So, and that's, I mean, with you add in the tax, exchange rate, and shipping, customs charges, a T-shirt can cost $50. So I started making my own, and through that kind of like, hey, anybody need anything? I got something for you. I can do something. And those requests kind of push me to do what I do, and kind of push me outside my comfort zone. I never built a website before. I never touched Photoshop before. I never really kind of did any artwork before, right? So I self-taught myself how to do all of it. I built my website. I built everything from the ground up, and it's just me. And I got a wicked print company that is amazing, and the selection of products is fantastic too. So that part, is on lock. I'm the kind of the engine that runs the rest of the car. So that is me. That is DC4L Custom Tees and why I do what I do. What I do doesn't work without you guys. So I truly appreciate every request and every order. And that's why when someone messages me, I message right back. I made it a paramount thing to be accessible and accountable, and affordable. Those are the kind of like the three A's. I'm in AAA league myself, and that's kind of what I kind of go with, right? So that's me. In this podcast, like kind of the intro won't be like this every time because obviously I'm not gonna have to tell you about my shit every time I come on. So normally the intro just gonna be me letting you guys know, what's going on. We'll shoot the shit about what's happening. I'll kind of give you a tease about who the guest is going to be this week. Mention the episode number of the podcast, and kind of that'd be that. But basically the podcast portion of this is going to allow me to, like I said, kind of showcase certain different things. The one case I want to showcase is kind of have a forum to discuss topics that make the tees, right? Like, and at the end of the day, this is my t-shirt company, but I do it for everybody else, right? So it doesn't matter what I'm a fan of; it matters what you're a fan of, right? So if you want, let's say let's use the upcoming draft and NFL player movement right now, right? This time of year February sucks. It's a slow month of year for sports. February and March, really kind of slow. And obviously, it hurts the request portion because there's nothing really exciting happening. And a lot of the requests that I get are in the moment, like, hey, that play happened and I want something. Or, this guy said that and I want something. This rivalry's coming up and I need something, right? So, um, right now, the NFL player movement thing's coming up. And that to me is where the bread and butter comes in. The Raiders, like I said earlier, the Raiders are a big, big portion of my fan base of what I do because they were the first ones that kind of latched on to me. That and Steelers fans, like shout out to those two fan bases because they're really what keeps the wheels moving for me. But the Raiders are going to get a new quarterback, and whether it be Aaron Rodgers or whether it be C.J. Stroud or whoever they end up getting, right? I'm going to get requests for a shirt with the new quarterback on it. And the draft is going to lead to players going to certain places. And trust me, like, fucking Najee Harris got drafted. I was getting requests that night. So that's why I'm here, right? Like those moments. And we got some upcoming player movement that's going to be really exciting. Like I'm pumped to see who the Raiders get as a quarterback. It's been such a touchy subject for a couple years now. If I did a Derek Carr shirt, I got people hating it, and I got people loving it, and I don't mind love or hate. It's just the Derek Carr situation got real ugly, and people were ignorant on both sides of the fence, and you can't even have a good, honest conversation about it. So, I'm stoked to see a new quarterback come into the Raiders organization and hopefully bring them back to winning, man. Get them to be feared, back to winning, because when they're winning, man, their fans is just rabid, and they're one of the best fan bases out there. Love them or hate them. I listen. Tradition is a thing, history is a thing, and that organization got a great history. They just don't have a good history of winning in the last 20 years. So hopefully that changes for them and they get a franchise quarterback in the draft. That'd be mint. Another one I think I want to do every week is kind of just highlight a request of the week. Just like a request that I got that was really cool or that meant something to somebody or that just kind of hit a soft spot for me in general too, right? Um, I got a request this week from at real one underscore DC. I got it written over there. Some crib notes, baby. I was a little prepared, a little nervous, but a little prepared at the same time. That's why I'm speaking fast too. So when I have the guests on, it'll kind of even me out a little bit because I'll be able to have that banter and back and forth. But right now, I'm just kind of gotten through it. Anyways, at a real one underscore DC hit me up and asked me for a shirt with kind of like some boxers attributes. Um, you know what I mean? Like Tyson. I mean, listen, you could use so many for him. Ferocious, I think, is what I went with for Tyson. Power for Foreman, and just kind of a list of boxers, and kind of went down. Really cool shirt. Not a lot of flash or dash to it, right? It's just kind of just text on a tee. I love doing any kind of shirts. I love doing abstract artsy stuff. Um, but you know, hey, listen, I'll do text on shirts. I'll do things like that 100% anytime. You hit me with a request, I'll make it happen. So now, listen, the cool thing was through this conversation and through this request, I found out that his father-in-law was a boxer, a professional boxer, Angel Cruz, out of Bethlehem, PA. Bethlehem. I'm pretty sure that's how I pronounce it. I don't fucking know. Anyways, Bethlehem, PA. That's where he fought out of. Um, 27 6-2 is the professional record. So, anyways, I actually did a design for him as well, and actually, I mean, that's like I said, that's kind of the cool thing. I got a request for a shirt for some, I mean, some boxers, and through that conversation and through getting to know somebody, I got they told me like that little story, and I think, listen, that shit's cool. If you have a relative that was a boxer or a player, and like, yeah, that's something cool, especially if they're professional. My second cousin through marriage, and listen, I'm not bragging, not to, but is Wayne Gretzky. And when I was a kid, I thought it was the coolest shit ever. Hence why I became a Kings fan over here. Right, there it is. Boom. Nope, this one. There. Kings fan. So when I was a kid, I became a Kings fan, and then listen, I was loyal to a fault. They paid off though, because they got 2 cups out of them. You know, they just traded Jonathan Quick like some assholes. Beside the point, when you're a kid and you have a professional now, obviously this guy wasn't in that situation because it's his father-in-law. So unless that was his childhood sweetheart, it probably wasn't his. Anyway, I don't even know where I'm going with that. See, that's the nerves. That's anyways. That's my request of the week. Shout out to a real one underscore DC for hitting me with the request, giving me the opportunity to make it, and adding the extra one in, and it's actually ordered quite a few of them too. So props, appreciate it. I really, really do. Next, I'm going to do what I call the customer shout out of the week. And now I kind of realize that I'm burning through this because I'm talking really fast. And uh, I might keep this one. I might not. Shit, I might delete it. No, fuck it. I'm going to keep it. I'll just let you guys see my flaws. And then you guys can see me get better. And then you'd be like, man, damn, remember that first one you did? That was shitty. And now you're goody. But customer shout out is going to give me the chance to, like I said, highlight a customer. And listen, I get requests for logos for businesses, for apparel for businesses and such like that. So it'll give me a chance to highlight a customer, small business to small business. It's always good to, I mean, kind of be able to tip the cap to somebody else and highlight what they do, right? So, because if it wasn't for what they do, they wouldn't need me to do what I do. So one hand washes the other, right? Customer shout out of the week, over to the crib notes again at Dr. Jack 24. Listen, I'm gonna throw this one out to Dustin. Right now, listen, you mean you people have probably noticed on my timeline that I'm throwing out a little bit more Duke stuff than I have before, and that's because he has been kind of feeding me to them Cameron crazies, and giving me a little bit of juice there in that world. And listen, I fucking appreciate it, because that's how I get into new fan bases, is by one guy or one girl or one person or anybody, just kind of one group pushing me into that area, right? And saying, hey, this guy will do it for you. You need something, this guy got you. And that's kind of like, that's been the snowball effect of how I got to where I've gotten. So I always like to tip my cap to the ones that kind of bring me into a fan base and kind of let me do what I do in that fan base. So, and I got a couple Duke requests, and I got a new one coming in that I got to kind of crack out today. You guys will see that one probably hit the timeline in a bit. Dustin, you definitely the king of the crazies, man. I appreciate you a lot, and looking forward to having you on here. You're going to be the guest next week. I'm going to bring you on next week, and you can slow me down and even a little bit. Listen, because I'm obviously doing the podcast, and because with the podcast, I get the ability of kind of promoting my business. Uh, you suffered through 15 minutes of me so far, rambling like a moron. So I figure you guys deserve a little coupon code. So when you're in the shopping cart section and you're buying something, just type in PTSP15. That'll save you 15%. So PTSP, that's for Print the Shirt Podcast 15, because you're going to save 15%. So PTSP15 saves you 15% off in the cart. So, like I said, go to the shopping cart, order some things, anything you want, that'll take 15% off. If you want to order a bunch of stuff, man, hit me up. Throw me a DM and be like, dude, I'm gonna buy 20 shirts. Give me something for free. I do that too all the time. Take care of my customers. Always. Um so when I did this pod before, I always had like this little like I don't know, like I called it story time with Dan because it just gives me a chance to tell some fucking goofy stories, some funny shit that happened to me or whatever the case might be. Funny, good, bad, ugly. Um Anyhow, um, I figured since that was the only part that really kind of got much attention left in the other pod that I did, I would bring that back to this one. Um, so the year that the Bruins won the cup, what year was that? And I want to say 2010 or 2011. Anyways, with the year the Bruins won the cup, I lived in Nova Scotia, east coast of Canada, and the Bruins were playing the Montreal Canadiens, Les Habitants. And me and my buddy Randy got tickets to the game, sweet fucking seats too. Sweet seats, like 5 fucking seats up from the glass. It was amazing. Seeing Chara and Seidenberg in person and they're massive, massive giants. Like they were fucking massive. Like I always thought they were big on TV when I looked at them. But oh, man, seeing them like in person and on the skates, like they was fucking behemoth. They was biggins. That's what they call them in the industry. Biggins. Like tall fucking gargantuans. Anyways, back to the story at hand. So our flight was the same day as the game. And that's always dangerous. Like anytime you're gonna take a flight and you're like cutting it close, shit's always gonna fucking happen, right? So we're on the plane and the flight takes off. We take off on time, so that's good. All right, cool, cool. Because we literally like from when we land to puck drop, we have I think it was like an hour and 26 minutes max. And we had to get to the hotel, drop off the bags, and then get to the game from Logan, right? So from airport to hotel to TD Garden. And yeah, obviously it's wishful thinking, right? So flight's going fine, and then they can't land. And I'm like, what do you fuck? I said, all right. They're like, we're just gonna circle a bit until we get clearance to land, until whatever clears up or whatever it was. I don't know what it was. It didn't look like it was bad weather. Like it was. I mean, it's the winter, so who fucking knows? So they're doing the circles and they're doing the circles, and then I look over at Randy, and Randy starting not to look too good. I'm like, dude, what's the matter, right? And he's like, no, like I'm gonna start to get sick. Like we gotta land soon. I'm like, well, I can't make the fucking plane land. Like I'm not flying it. Like I have no decision. There's nothing I can do. I'm just gonna sit beside you and hope that we land real soon. We didn't land real soon. Literally, we were doing loops for a long fucking time. And like, listen, I'm not talking like loop, like it wouldn't have got me sick or nothing like that. But he started to get sick, and he got sick. I never seen one of those little bags that you open up and you fill. Never seen one of them get used until that day. I never want to see one get used ever again, or one closed or sat near me. No, fuck that. So the plane finally does land, and we literally have 20 minutes to get from the airport to the hotel to the game. Now we get the cab and the shuttle guy, but I'm an idiot. I didn't get a cab. I got the shuttle, and it's the shuttle to the fucking hotel. and he wouldn't take me to the game. So I was like, dude, like I don't got time to drop my bags off and call a cab and wait for another cab and deal with fucking Sicky McSickerton over here. And Randy wasn't doing too good, but listen, he is a Boston Bruins fan. His father is a diehard Boston Bruins fan, and it's a fucking playoff game in Boston. So we're going, right? Like he's like, no, fuck it, we're going. So I was like, all right, fuck it. So I end up giving the driver $50 to drive us to the hotel, let me run the bags in. I didn't even check the bags into the room. Like I fucking gave the driver $50 and I gave the hotel people $50 to hold my bags and make sure that everything was good until I got back. So I then get back in the van and I get the driver to drive us down to the game. So we get to the game. We missed the fucking puck drop. Now I thought because of the anthem and all that hoopty ha, because it's game one of the playoffs, I figured we would have a little bit of leeway because puck drop wouldn't happen as it was scheduled. So we only missed like 12 minutes or something like that. There was like 8 minutes left in the first period when we got there. So sitting in our seats, watching the game, fucking pumped. I'm like, yeah, we're at a fucking NHL playoff game. This is crazy. This is live, right? Like I was digging it. And then I'm looking at Randy. I look over and he's just like, dude, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, all right, cool, go to the bathroom. So I let him up. I go, and the first period ended, and he never came back. I'm like, what in the fuck, right? Like, where's Randy? We're not from here. It's not like you're gonna bump into somebody and be like, hey man, fucking went over to these guys' seats. None of that shit. So I text him. I'm like, yo, like, what's fun? This is the BlackBerry days, right? So I texted him. And he fuck on the BBM and he hits me back, fucking like, yo, I was in the stairwell and now I'm in the fucking medical thing down some way. So he gives me directions. And so I go over and I'm like, go down this thing and we go in there and he's with the little nurse and shit. And they're like, yeah, he needs to go and lay down. He's not doing well, blah, 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 blah. So they want me to take him back to the hotel. And this is where I probably think that, I don't know. Me and Randy is best friends. Like, this is my dog. So I'm like, dude, like, listen, what do you want me to do? I was like, we can ditch the game. I go back. I can get you in a cab. I can send you back, and I'll go back and watch the game. Like, what do you want to do? So he's like, no, dude, like, don't not watch the game. You watch the game. Just get me situated, and I'll go. So they walk me down this long ass hallway, and they take me out, get us out back. I get him in the cab, and I send him home. They walk me back in, and I went back to my seat and watched the rest of the game. And so after the game, I'm sitting there by myself, and I was just drinking the beers, and the game was over. Montreal ended up winning the game, so no one was in a good mood when they left. And so I left, and I couldn't get a cab. They were all fucking gone. So I ended up just walking back to the hotel, which was a lot longer to walk than I intended to take. I get back to the hotel. He's still just ill as shit. And I was just, oh man, I felt so bad for him. And at least the Bruins didn't win. So it's like, dude, like, hey, you didn't miss anything good. Like they didn't win. They did win the cup that year, which was wicked. And it sucked that his father did pass away that year, right afterwards. And it's one like we kind of always look back and we're like, yeah, hey, at least you got to. That's the crazy thing with sports, right? Is that, like if you know like a serious sports fan that's a fan of a team, and they get to see a trophy get won, and then you're like, man, there's just like I don't know just the way you said, like at least he got to see the Bruins win a cup before he died. Like that shit just hit home because it's like, man, like some people really live for this shit. And listen, I'm a diehard sports fan. I live for this shit too. So it did hit home. Um, but yeah, like man, listen, that's not the greatest story, but it's kind of funny. I thought it was funny. It might have been funnier if someone was here to kind of go back and forth with too. Again, that's why the guest stuff is going to be important. So this will wrap up the very first episode of Print the Shirt podcast, where, like I said, we're going to do this once a week. We'll that's the podcast flow: intro, teed up, request of the week, customer shout out, promo code or giveaway or contest or some shit. the payoff for listening to me rant. Then we'll do story time with Dan, and then I'll do the fucking outro where I say some shit, drop the website, my socials, and then I peace out that door. Right. Anyways, you guys, thanks for tuning in. This is episode 1. Next time will be episode 2. After that, episode 3. You know how it goes. And I'm going to keep doing them. So I'll either get better and I'll attract more people, or I'll get better and I'll just keep talking to myself. That being said, you guys can hit the website. I put a little ticker thing here on the bottom. I don't even know how, man, I'm learning. Shout out to, Zach Smith for hitting me up with the where to get this, the old StreamYard. This is good stuff. Bam. Anyways, website dc4lcustomtees.com. That's the website. Twitter is at dc4l custom tees. Just don't add the .com. And Instagram is dc4l _ custom tees, because I made the first one and then I fucked it up, and then anyways, y'all don't need to know all that. But anyways, I don't really use it that much anyway because I suck on Instagram. Twitter is the shit. Like, that's where sports fans live, and I mean, 90% of my business comes from Twitter. If Twitter crashes and dies, I'm fucked. So make sure you write down the email, because if Twitter's still gone, I'm fucked. So Elon, keep the shit running, baby. Keep it up, Musk. Keep it up. Anyways, I'm out. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm going to end the recording now, and then I'll post this shit. You guys can watch it and tell me what you think. Deuces.